a shower. It really does feel so good on your face. Turn that on, and then we lock it so it doesn't set anything on fire. Depending on the size of your beard, the amount you use varies. I like to use 4 to 8 drops, usually around 6. This is the Viking Storm scent, which I really like, and more importantly, my fiance really likes. You get that in. Oil. The oil helps moisturize your beard, shape it. It also moisturizes the skin underneath, which is nice, helps prevent breakouts, and also smells really good. And then the final touch, beard balm, as opposed to the Struff balm, which they have. The beard balm, again, the amount you use depends on the size of the beard. Voila. And that's that. Remember to use the promo code STRENGTH24 to save yourself 15%. That also helps support myself and the stream. So thanks very much for stopping by. Happy gaming.
Hanging out, seeing if anybody wants to join me. Let's see, what's a good film color? It's not terrible. Cyan.
My buddy just posted what were the 5 most important video games to you throughout your youth, teen years? No curating to look cool, interesting, please. So let's see. Um, well, first one, which is still one of my favorite, if not my favorite, video game, at least Nintendo game, was Castlevania 2. Simon's Quest. It's the first video game I ever played for the Nintendo, and it was also the first one I ever bought after I got my own system, which was cool. So let's see. Yeah, one, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. The second one is probably Battle of Olympus, which is also a regular Nintendo game. Um, but it got me into Greek mythology, like more so than I already was. Olympus. Number 3. Hmm. Just going in order. I also jumped a lot of systems. Like I went from an Atari to a Nintendo Entertainment System to a PlayStation 2. Actually, no, there was a TurboGrafx 16 in there that I got from a buddy. Um, Probably Ocarina of Time. I played my buddy Shane lent me his Nintendo 64 when I had my wisdom teeth out in high school. I was on the couch for 3 days. I played through that game in the first day and a half. I think I got through it. And I actually called him up and I was like, dude, thank you so much for letting me keep well, I wasn't talking much because I didn't want to get a dry socket or anything, so I was playing it strictly by the rules. I was like, hey man, thanks so much for letting me, borrow your Nintendo 64 and play Zelda. And he's like, did you already beat it? I was like, yeah, I just finished it. He's like, okay, never mind then. I was like, what? Like, I wasn't going to tell you this, but Nintendo Power just put out a challenge to beat it with the least amount of hearts as you can. And I was like, I gotta go. So I hung up. I immediately restarted the game, and then I have beaten Ocarina of Time with only 3 hearts, without the shield from the last fairy that you get right at the very end from the last fairy before you actually go into the temple and start to battle Ganon. So I beat that game with just 3 hearts. That's one of my crowning achievements in video games. Um, Man. Simon's Quest, Battle of Olympus, Ocarina of Time. Let's see, what did we do after that? Started a stream. My buddy's asking me what I'm up to. Starting a stream. Um, Answering questions about the film industry. Gonna try it for a few weeks and see if it piques an interest and people like it. Let's see. PlayStation 2. I mean, it wasn't a PlayStation 2 game, but Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, this is still like youth and teen years. We're not getting into the most recent stuff, which is like Morrowind, God of War. Um, let's see. What would be fifth on that list? Battle of Olympus, Castlevania 2, Battle of Olympus. That's all Nintendo. Like those are my probably most vivid regular Nintendo games, um, history wise, that I remember. Nintendo 64, just going chronologically, Ocarina of Time is definitely up there. That's and like that might be one of the most important ones. Um, Final Fantasy Tactics, because I played that so much in college. I skipped. I didn't even touch seven. I loved Tactics because it's turn based because I'm a gamer and I love that. Um, hey, dude, what's up, Eric? Eric Frankhouse Presents is in the house, everybody. That's where our stream is Tuesday nights. Every first and third Tuesday, we're playing a Pathfinder 2 game. You should come check it out. Contra, oh man, Contra is big, um, because of the fact that my cousin and I don't have a lot of close ties with my family from growing up, just because I wasn't really around. But yeah, I mean, like my buddy, my cousin Jay, like he would come up and he'd hang out at the lake with us, and we just play Contra all the time. Contra's a big one, um, but like it wasn't. I don't know, man. It's for you just hopped in house, so I'll tell you. So like somebody posted, what were the five most important video games to you throughout your youth teen years? No curating to look cool or interesting, please. Um, oh, it's like Vampire Bloodlines, Planescape Torment. I know you love that game. Um, Deus Ex, Secret of Monkey Island. Oh God, King's Quest. King's Quest 6. Yeah. I think King's Quest 6 would probably be on there because was it 6? Yeah, it had to be 6. King's Quest 6. Uh we played as a team at my buddy Adam's house. Um and like because we would try and solve the problems by ourselves because the internet wasn't big then, wasn't really a thing. Um Seventh Guest, that was another big one. Phantasmagoria. We played it was a lot of Trilobite games that we played, but yeah, man, King's Quest 6, like just the riddles, like it was. Let me see what other things people put down. So my list so far, um, what's up, Tango? Um, and me and Mike Moore would beat every time we came to town. Oh, are you talking about Contra? Yeah. Um, yeah, so Castlevania 2, Battle of Olympus, Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy Tactics. Is King's Quest on there for me? It would either be I would say um it's either King's Quest 6 or Eternal Champions, which was an old Sega game. It was a side scroller combat like Street Fighter 2. Um like you could play it two people, but like I never beat that game. Oh God, Summoner. Played the shit out of that. Yeah, Planescape Torment. Oh God, House was Gears out when we were in high school? Is that game that are we that old? Uh, we are, aren't we? I don't think I played Gears until I was in college. Yeah, I think. Hmm, man, that is tough. I think King's Quest 6. Put King's Quest 6. Is it 6? I might be thinking of. God, there's so many in that.
Hang on. Use. King's Quest 6. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Yep. Absolutely the one that I'm thinking of. Oh my god. Can I buy this game? Can I buy King's Quest 6? It's got to be a thing, right? Let's reload. Yeah, air today, gone tomorrow. God, we spent so much time on this game. That might be a stream that I have to do, is just playing through King's Quest 6. Holy crap. Yep, 6. It's definitely what it was. Oh, man. Has to be high school. Oh god, Dark Cloud. Yep, I played the shit out of that game too. God, Dark Cloud was such a good game. I think I still have that. Hang on a second. Oh god, Tenchu. I forgot all about Tenchu. So many PlayStation games. Dark Cloud was a good one. Played a lot of Dark Cloud. I still have it's one of the more rare games that you would have to find today is Gauntlet it's Dark Fantasy. Like it was the Midway same people that did the original Mortal Kombat. They did a Gauntlet game called Dark Fantasy, and that game was pretty boss. Like you couldn't find it after it came out. Like you couldn't find it anywhere. I think I still have my. Oh God, House Army of Two. See, I still haven't played Final Fantasy VII. I'm thinking about it since they remastered it, just because. But like, never got really into the Final Fantasy games aside from Tactics. Although Army of Two wasn't really. Yeah, no, I've never played it, Amir. I've never played it. Like I think I started it once, but I've never gotten into it. Yeah, as soon as I got an Xbox, I kind of veered away from PlayStation aside from specific games. Like I know, right? Like God of War, for instance. Like all the God of War games, I played the shit out of those. I played every one that was for the PlayStation. I never had a PSP. Yeah, what was I? Oh, right. Hang on. Headphones are all curled up. Got to see if I still have that game. Oh God, I know. No, I got to change that. Legacy of Soul Reaver 2, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2. Like that game blew my mind in the terms of what you could do storytelling wise in a video game. Just the cinematic cuts. Like one of my favorite speeches in. Sorry, I know this was supposed to be about film, but and we got into video games. But I mean, they've been synonymous for the last decade. House, when did video games start outselling movies? It's been like 10 years now, right? It's ridiculous. That game, just the voice, like the caliber of voice acting in that game and the cutscenes, even though there's a lot of polygon art in those games, but like Soul Reaver 2, like it's vampires, it's time travel, it's just diabolical planning and like forethought. Like it's a huge chess game in this dark, like steampunk Victorian feel fantasy setting. And then you mix that with like it's got some Lovecraftian stuff because like, oh man, hang on, I gotta. This is the voice acting talent that we're talking about here. Tony Jay, first of all, plays like Soul Reaver 2. Yeah. The voice acting talent in this game was absolutely ridiculous. So Michael Bell, Simon Templeman, like Raziel and Kane, they were, oh God, like they were so good at those characters, and like uh, the gravitas of their voices. It's something that I still try to emulate as a voice actor. Like when I'm doing something, just the presence that they had in those games was just amazing. But fucking Tony J, and like you probably don't know who that is, but if you saw him, I wish I could do a screen share with this. I wonder if I can I do a screen share? I have to do up. Oh, I absolutely see that, dude. I guess I absolutely see that. Yeah. Um, although I was playing that in college, so I don't know if it counts. I think I'm gonna leave that list the way it is. But like when I got into college, that's really what I was playing. That's the guy from those old Bach movies. Ong Bak was oh god, was Tony J in Ong Bak? You know what he was in? If you ever saw the movie Pi, he was the older uh like white haired mustache. Um I have to set up a scene for screen share. Like I don't have one right now. House. I should do that though. But he just had one of the greatest voices. Um, he was okay. He was Frollo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was the supreme being in Time Bandits. Oh yeah, yeah. You're thinking of Tony Jaa. I'm talking of Tony J. Old guy, white Van Dyke. Uh, he was I'm gonna pronounce this incorrectly. Oh wait, no, this was this the movie or the video game? Yeah, no, it was the movie. Um Monsieur D'Arc was the voice of him. What else were his credits? He was such a great voice actor. Just a great actor. He was the voice of Magneto in X-Men Legends. He did so many video games. Uh, he was the narrator for Teen Titans. Let's see, Legacy of Kain. He was the narrator for War of the Ring in Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring. Let's see, what else was he? He was the narrator for Treasure Planet, Hunter the Reckoning, Soul Reaver 2. I'm trying to think what else you guys would have known him from. Oh, House, here you go. He was the transcendent one in Planescape Torment. Um, he was in Twins. God, what was he was in The Tick? He was Chairface Chippendale in The Tick. Hell is it? He was Anubis in Gargoyles. Question one: who are the most influential actors that you study and further yourself in your field? I thank you, House, for trying to pull me off topic. And back actually on topic. I'll answer that in a second. I gotta remember what the character's name was in Twins that he played. That's gonna drive me nuts. I think he played the Doctor in the beginning. Yeah, Werner. He was Werner in the Twins. God, he's had so many great roles. Okay. Yeah, tall, like just looked regal, but his voice was just awesome. Who are the most influential actors that you study and further yourself in the field? This isn't really on topic anyway, because it wasn't about acting. I was just gonna answer questions about the film industry. He's gotten a lot of flack over the years. But Mel Gibson is one of the actors that I connected with when I first decided I wanted to become acting, because he could say so much without words. He had a very and he still does. He has a very Steve McQueen quality. Like Steve McQueen, when he got a script and they were going over the rehearsal, he would say, "I'm not going to say this line. I can do that with a look." Like he would do that often. And that is something that, being a very physical actor as I am, because for those of you who don't know me, I'm also trained as a stuntman. Physical acting is very important in your craft as an actor. And Mel Gibson, like if you just watch the opening of Lethal Weapon, where the scene where he's in the trailer and he's losing his mind, he puts the gun in his mouth, but he doesn't pull the trigger. Like there is so much emotion that just flows through him in that scene. Like when I saw that, it blew me away. Another person that fits that descriptor as well is Jeremy Brett. If you never saw, Sherlock Holmes is my favorite literary character. And if you never saw the Granada TV series of Sherlock Holmes, Jeremy Brett played Sherlock Holmes in that series. And there is there's just a way about him. The episode is called it's the Blue Carbuncle. I can't remember if it's the Blue Carbuncle or the seven. No, it's the Seven Napoleons, because Lestrade's in the office when he does it. Lestrade tells him that we're not jealous of you, we're proud of you. He's talking about down at Scotland Yard. He's like, and if you came down tomorrow, there wouldn't be a man in the room that wouldn't take you by the hand and shake your hand. And just there is a wave of emotions that ranges, like there's like 7 different looks that he gives inside of maybe 3 seconds, and it's just awesome. And I always try to emulate that or emote that when I'm acting. So I would say those are 2 of the ones that that fit that. Tom Hanks is another one. He's such a won't say chameleon, because it's like you always know it's Tom Hanks, but you still forget about it because like you suspend your disbelief enough that it doesn't matter. But when he commits to a role, he really commits. Like Castaway is a perfect example. Like they started that, and then I think they went away for like 6 months, and he just lost all that weight. So when you come back, when he spears the fish, then it comes up on him, and he's just thin as a rail. Like Christian Bale's another one. He'll drop weight or gain weight for a role, sometimes dangerously so. I think when he was doing The Machinist, he was like down to 100 pounds. He was eating an apple a day, and that was it, just to have this emaciated look. Like the dedication to making a role come like show through in every sense. It's not just the craft, but it's also like preparing your body and your mind and actually getting into one of those roles. Like I'm not much of a method actor. I jump into it pretty easily. But like method actors have my respect because like they do not leave character. I think when Daniel Day-Lewis was doing My Left Foot, there were PAs assigned to just carry him around because he wouldn't move. And that's just his process. Like, and some people call it being a diva. Other people call it like true method, and it's their craft. But either way, those people are being paid enough and they pull in the money that they can do that and get away with it. Like, it's, everybody has their own way of going about it. When Christopher Reeve is another actor that I greatly admired. When they were doing Superman, he was very focused and into it, and Margot Kidder was not. She would just jump in and out of out of the role, and it was very distracting to him. And I guess they had some conflict on set about it. But like, everybody's different. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bale's awesome. He's absolutely awesome. What is the actual difference between a director and producer when on set? That's a good question. Okay, so you know what? I'll just run the gambit. So producers, depending on what type of producer they are, that's either like the executive producers, more often or not, they're the money. And sometimes they don't even step foot on set. The producer is there seeing the project as a whole and bringing a project to fruition from start to finish. And the director is also involved in that. But once you get on set, there's a bunch of different rules that fall into play to make those other rules work. Like, producers are usually working with the director. The producer will say, well, like, we want this to be the finished product. And the director will be like, okay, I have a vision for that. That's why they hire the director, so that the director can move them through to achieve that vision. And more often than not, the director is actually the driving force behind the vision anyway. The director on set is there to deal with the actors because of that and tell the story. Because of that, everything else that comes into play is usually handled by the other assistant directors. So like the first AD, they run set. They're the ones that the first AD and their team, which is mainly what I've done in my 9 years being in LA. Because while I've worked on acting, I've been doing production work most of the time to stay afloat and pay the bills. So because of that, I worked with the first AD and the second AD. The first AD is running set. They're making sure that everything is lined up so the director does not have to worry about it, and the director can focus on telling the story and working with the actors. First AD takes care of everything else. So they're on set talking to the different departments, getting everybody like, how long do you need? Cool. How long do you need? Okay, we'll put this together. Okay, to the director, sir or ma'am, like, we're ready for you whenever you are. And then they'll run it. The second AD is back in the trailer at base camp, prepping for the next day, usually. Because there's so much that's happening. So many people are involved. You can't do that type of shit on the day. You have to do it day or weeks behind, or beforehand. And then the second, or the third assistant director, if you're in the UK, or anywhere not in the States, pretty much, the second is there to help with background, if there is any, so that the first AD doesn't have to worry about that. It's all about delegation on set. And then the key PA works usually with the first AD and or the second to help the PAs hit lockups, do runs, do ever what needs to happen to make sure the set is flowing the way that it needs to. But that's pretty much the difference. And producers are there to deal with other things, usually on the day, that come up. Like, when we need this, well, producer will go take care of that. He'll talk to the second AD or whoever needs to be, and then they'll get that done. But producers are problem solvers, for the most part. Because usually if something happens on the day, it's either an emergency or it's something that got missed, and that's why they jump into it. When my Um, I have a bunch of friends that are ADs as well. I have one friend, Johnny Recker, if you're watching, I love you. Uh, if he's running second on a show, many times, like for instance, Criminal Minds, there's usually a director for the episode, and then the first AD, second AD team will be there through the entire run of the season. That being said, there are usually two sets, so that while one first AD and second AD are running the set for the episode, the second team is prepping for the next episode, and then they just switch. They basically play hop leapfrog the whole time. So that one episode's done, everything switches, and those are the only departments that usually do that. The first AD and second AD, they're running and prepping, and then switching and running and prepping. But like everything else, if you're on a regular TV show, production staff stays the same. Hair and makeup, wardrobe, grip team, electric, all that stuff. It's all the same people, and they just kind of work in unison with all of those. Um, how long does a difficult stunt scene take to set up and shoot? Honestly, it depends on the scene. Um, when and I was not part of the stunt department on this, but when I was PAing for second unit for Agents of Shield, um, there were there were days where second unit was on set the same time as first unit, and they were dealing with stunts the whole time. Um, the last season that came out, um, it was a lot of time travel stuff. So uh, there's usually like stunts is a whole other thing because the stunt coordinator is there, and then if there's rigging that has to happen, they'll bring in a rigging team, and it honestly depends on what the setup is. If it's just a fight or something like that, can happen on the day. Um, usually the stunt coordinator will be there, and then the stunt people will show up. Whoever's there for the day players, they'll rehearse the scene on their own while everybody else is working, and then when it comes to that scene, they'll come in, do the scene. If there's more than one, they'll do the rest of them, and then depending on if they need more time, they'll just bring them in the next day, or they just send them home when they're done. So it honestly depends on what the scene entails, how many pages it is, how intricate the fight is, or what else needs to happen. Because sometimes there's a fight, then there's a car chase, then something blows up, and that involves special effects. So it's making sure you have all your ducks in a row, and if that doesn't happen, it can take a long time. So, uh, who else here? Who's here that who are we hanging out with here? See, there's 6 people. Is anybody else on here that hasn't asked anything yet? That has any questions? This is what this time's about, just to hang out and chat, shoot the shit. I was thinking about doing this channel for this show for a little bit, and specifically, I was thinking about doing it for because I know that there's a lot of schooling that's happening virtually now. So I was gonna talk to some teacher friends and offer this up as an option for them um, to have their class ask questions and do that type of thing. When working on set, how much yelling actually happens? Is it like working in a kitchen? Oh, I mean, like line cooks, not nearly as much as line cooks. There's there is less there's less yelling. I'll put it that way. Mainly because we have walkie talkies, we don't have to yell. Usually, if someone's yelling, something or someone has fucked up a lot, uh, and then it's usually like the director yelling because another talent of first ads is they are very go with the flow. Like we there's a lot of working parts, and we're in the middle of it, we can't control half of it, so fuck it, we don't care that much, we don't view that as our problem. So it really depends um on the situation, and um I have stories rolling through my head. Some that I know of. secondhand and others that I witnessed. Um, yeah, no, it's there's not a whole lot of yelling. It's very few and far between. There's definitely not as much yelling as in the kitchen. Like there's so much yelling that happens on the line if you're working kitchen staff. Oh my god. Uh, and I didn't do that for very long either. But yeah, no, it's night and day the difference. There's not a whole lot of yelling on set, unless we're yelling rolls and cuts, but that really doesn't count. How do you get into working on a set? What skills would you put forward on your resume? Um, honestly, ground zero, you want to like PA is the best way to get in, and then so here's the thing about working on set. And it's part of the problem is that when people come out here, like if they're going to be an actor or they want to get into the film, they're like, they just think it's going to happen. This is this is kind of near to my heart because many people come out to LA without. I know we're talking about. I'm veering off on a rant a little bit here. There are people that come out to LA that don't know what the hell they're doing and they want to become actors and they're not good and they gum up the works. Um, that can happen with um, people trying to do the jobs on set too, because they go to film school and they learn a lot and then they're shell shocked when they realize that that's not how every set works. Um, one of my favorite sayings is to somebody who's like, "Why are we doing this? I don't understand. This isn't the way it's done." It's like, yeah, this isn't that show. And that's just the response because every set is different, um, and unfortunately, a lot of that has to do with producers or the UPM, the unit production manager, just the way that things are run. Some people do things differently. Some things are done incorrectly, in my opinion, and some things are not. There are those out there that try and take care of people on their staff, and there are people that don't give a shit. And I've done this long enough that I just don't work with the latter anymore because I just don't have the time for it. Um, but how to get into working on set? You want to pretty much start out as a PA unless you know somebody. I think any business is about who you know, but this one more than any, um, because people work with who they like before they work with who they know, before they work with people they don't know, before they work with people they don't like. That's how it is. Because like if you're on a show, say you're on a show like Criminal Minds or Agents of Shield or something that goes many seasons, if you're working with people you don't like, it's not going to be good for you in the long run. It's not going to be good for the crew in the long run. So that crew becomes a family and they take care of each other. And they're not going to subject them to some asshole that they've worked with before who they didn't like working with. They're going to bring in somebody they like, somebody that works well with them. Um, the best way to do it is, you know, I think I answered a couple of Craigslist ads. That's how I started meeting people. Um, I auditioned for the first short that I did when I got to LA. Um, I met them through Craigslist because they were doing a short film and I didn't know my way around town and I almost missed the opportunity. And because I was looking for a job at the time and I emailed them back and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. You know, are you guys still there? Can I still come in and audition?" They're like, "Yeah, no, we're still here. Come to the corner is Sunset and Gower. And just come to the gate and give them your intro." I was like, "Oh, there's a gate. Cool." I had no idea that it was Sunset Gower Studios because I wasn't that's not a big name. That's not one of the big three or four like Paramount or Warner Brothers. Like I didn't know that was a big studio out here. So I show up and there's a gate and I was like, "Oh, crap. Yeah, I'm here." He's like, "Yeah, you're going to this building." I was like, "Cool." So I drive down, I get in, and I'm walking down the hall to this audition, and uh I'm seeing like handwritten sides for Dexter season whatever episode this reading this way, and they were doing a read through for a episode of Dexter while I walked in and auditioned for these people. It turns out they were doing post production for the show Eureka because they were editors, and we hit it off, and we made this awesome short film, and many of those people are still very close friends of mine today. Um, and you work and you build a community of people you want to work with, and they, if they like you, they bring you in on other stuff, and it's mainly word of mouth. Um, but you become a PA, and then say you want to get into costumes. While you're a PA, you talk to the costume people, you make friends with them, you rub elbows with them, and then you express interest like, hey, I really want to do what you do. Is there any way I can get in? And then if there's a way and they like you, they're like, you know what, we need an extra PA. Let me talk to them and see if we can pull you on and assign you to be our PA. And then you work with those people and you build a relationship with those people, and then they bring you onto things. I have I worked with someone who was a costume PA on one of the first features that I worked on. I think it's called Amateur Night now. It's a Jason Biggs movie. That dude is a fucking rock star, by the way. One of the nicest people I've ever met in town. He's awesome. Jason Biggs is the fucking man. Um, she was a costume PA, and then I ran into her on the Paramount lot. Yeah, I ran into her on the Paramount lot like last year, 2 years ago. I was working on American Woman doing fittings, and I randomly ran into her, and she was working on another show. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm head costumer. I was like, that's awesome. Like, that's just the way it goes. Like, if you're good at your job and you do your job well, there's a difference. Competent, purposeful, ethical, all those three things fall into play. You do all those things, people will see that, and they'll bring you back to do more work for them because they trust you. Like, that's the way the world works, and that's the way the film industry works. And it is a very small world. Once you get into it, you realize how small it is. Like, it's to the point now where probably four out of five times, if I'm on set with someone, I've worked with someone on that crew before, period. On another show, on another commercial, on a movie, it doesn't matter. Like, it's the same people. It's because, like, if they're good at their job, they get picked up again. And I am, without tooting my own horn too much, I'm good at my job. I get shit done. Um, and that reputation is what follows you. So it's building a community. It's kind of like Twitch. It's building a community and letting people know that you're there to work and help them. Um, yes, somebody has a question. Yeah, no job is even the same if you have the same. Yeah, exactly. What skills would you put forward on your resume? Honestly, I don't. The only thing that I have special skills on is my acting resume or my stunt resume. Uh, as a PA, I don't really use them. It's usually just a list of like the show. If I was a PA or a key PA, and then either the producer or director or the first AD that I worked with, and I run them very much so like my acting resume. It's just a different title. Uh, I mean, like if you're doing office PA work, like if you know Excel or um, if you know editing software, like that stuff would be good to put on. But if you're doing PA work, there's not a whole lot that special skills come into. Maybe if you're doing runs, like if you can drive stick or not, or if you know how to drive a truck. Although usually on the bigger shows, that's all handled by transpo anyway. Um, yeah, yeah. There's not much resume, and that's the other thing. Like maybe 20% of the time, I'm asked to put a resume together so that I can send it to a first AD that doesn't know me, because like somebody will be like, "Hey, we're looking for PAs. Can you send me a resume?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I haven't done that in a while," and I'll throw it together an email. But like the email with my resume is not as important usually as the person who's vouching for me that's saying, "Hey, my guy's available. Can I bring him in and you can interview him?" That's actually how I got on. If you haven't seen the movie Unicorn Store, it's super cute. It's on Netflix. Brie Larson. It was her directorial debut. It's her, Samuel L. Jackson. Uh, Bradley Whitford, also super cool dude. Joan Cusack, sweetheart. But that's a lot of fun. But like that show was like that was kind of a passion project for Brie, and it didn't come out for a while because while that was happening, she got cast as Captain Marvel. So they were like, "We're not going to put this out yet. We're going to wait till Captain Marvel comes out, and then we're going to put it out," which worked to their favor. Um, but like one of the producers on that was the same producer that did Star is Born, the remake. Like people work on different size projects all the time, so it doesn't matter what the project is. You want to be good at your job because you don't know who or is going to go where or do what. So yeah. Let's see. Love that show. Yeah, yeah. Eureka's a fun show. I haven't seen the whole thing. I've only seen a couple episodes here and there. What else is going on? Anybody else have any other questions right now? Eric, I appreciate you moderating the questions or just throwing them at me. Same only watched the first two seasons. Yeah, I think I've watched even less than that. The I can't remember what it's on my list. The list. That's the other thing about working in the film industry. Many times you're working on so many projects, you don't have a chance to watch them. So I haven't made it through. Like Breaking Bad, I haven't touched yet. I think I watched the first episode and I haven't gotten back to it yet. It's a common problem in the industry because people just don't have any friggin' time. It's the days are long. It's 12-hour days. Usually that's the bare minimum, especially if you're a PA. PAs are, aside from transpo, they're usually first in and last out. They're paid the least. It's a shit job. It is meant to be a stepping stone. I've done it for so long because it's not what I've wanted to do. But it works as a good filler between, because I mean, I'm a freelancer, so it works as a good filler between other gigs. Do you ever watch a show you worked on and be like, I helped with that or did that on the show? Absolutely. Absolutely. I got to work on Ford versus Ferrari, part of the second unit stuff, because my buddy Tyler was the second unit, second. That's a lot of seconds, I know. But second unit is usually action and or stunts. So like second unit was doing most of the driving stuff while it was happening. But I was on that show for about 2 weeks. I was there for the race when the Mustang goes into the wall. I was there for that. Was there for a bunch of the Le Mans stuff. But that show in particular, like I remember seeing it, and I was like, I am so proud that I had a part in this show. Like even though it was super small, like it's like I'm in it and I was there and I had my hands in it. It made me feel really good. There's another movie that I think it's on Amazon. It's called The Cover Versions. It's got a Rashomon feel because it you see the story, but then you see what happened from everybody's perspective, and you see like what happened versus what happens. It's also like Usual Suspects type feel. But there's a scene. Taylor Swift's brother, Austin Swift, is one of the leads in this movie. Super cool dude. But there's a scene where they're floating in a pool and he comes into view and then they come into view. And like I was at the premiere of it and I met up with him afterwards. He's like, man, that whole scene, all I was thinking of is, yeah, Drew's underwater holding my raft right now and you can't see him. Because I was underneath the water. I'm a really good swimmer. So they asked me to go in and kind of help reset the floaties because they were just laying on the pool floats. So I was in the water, like moving people around. And then for some scenes, I was actually under them, holding them in place so they wouldn't float away. He was like, that's all I could think of was you were right under me, like basically holding my butt where it was. Yeah, it's funny. I'm trying to think what Unicorn Store. I was there for the whole thing. That show was a lot of fun. Learned a lot on that show. Let's see. Yeah, there'll be times where we like show this scene. I was like, see that corner? I'm actually right there around the corner because I'm locking up that street. Like it's little stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, it's funny. The things that pop up are like, oh, I forgot all about this show. I was right there. I was doing that. I'm hiding behind that mailbox. Duh. Apparently Eric had to head out. Amir, have you seen did Eric show you the Jason mask that he got? He's wearing it to work right now. Is there any jobs where we're like, I have to be on this one? Dude. Yeah. When I first got to town, when I first got to LA, they were still filming Dark Knight Rises. And I went downtown just to walk around to try and find somebody that I could give my information to, just because I wanted to be a part of it. There are if there's an opportunity like that, or if there's a want for that, it's usually an acting want. Like it'll be something like, I really want to get on this show. I really want to be a part of this. Like I want to help tell this story, which is yeah, the face mask part. He just sent me a picture of it. He's like, it just said I'm heading to work, and it's just Eric's face with the it's really funny. Oh, yeah, there's it's not happening now, but my buddy Johnny Recker, the second AD that I was telling about, he had his stuff in to work on Akira because they were going to do a live action one. He had his stuff in on it. My old roommate, he loves Akira. Like he has the pill tattooed on his back, literally. I sent him stuff for it because he's a scenic painter. It's like, dude, if I get in on this, have your like put a resume together so I can send it in if I'm at all able to bring you in on this, because I know he would have loved it. But then that went away because reasons. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that pops up that you hear about and you're like, oh man, I'd love to be on that show. I have a like I don't get to act as much as I want to, obviously, because I'm trying to do it for a living. So that means I don't get to do it. I do everything else, um, but yeah, yeah. Tom Savini. So we have the movie Monster guy that made those. Yeah, yeah. Tom Savini. I haven't met Tom. I know Robert Kurtzman pretty well. He was part of KNB for a while. He was actually when we did Clowntown. Oh, P.S. So there is a option on Twitch to do a watch party, which means if it's on Amazon Prime, you can watch it with your viewers. So at some point soon, we're going to try and do a watch party of Clowntown, and it's going to be myself and the cinematographer Ken Stacknick. We're going to do a watch party and kind of do like our own commentary because we're not on the commentary for the actual movie. So we're going to do a watch party and do our own thing. Hey, what's up, Max? How's it doing, dude? So yeah, I think it'll be super cool. It'll probably be kind of Mystery Science Theater 3000 or 2000. 2000? No, it's 3000. My mind is mush right now. But yeah, we're gonna try and do like a viewing party of that. I don't know if so that's a question. I don't know if Toy Box is on Amazon Prime right now because it was on Hulu for a while and then it went down. I'm not sure where you can watch it now. Um Oh shit, is that on Prime now too? Nope, unavailable. Wonder where can watch the Toy Box? Mm, yep, nope, it's not on there right now. Screen of the watch. It's 2018. Yeah, it was on Hulu for a while. That's the reason I'm looking for is that's the other movie, the other feature that we did that Ken and I did. Um, we did that after the Toy Box or after Clown Town. Um, so we wanted to do one of those too, but it's not available. But yeah, we're gonna do a watch of Clown Town at some point, and try and get as many people in on that because I think it'll be super fun. Bring your popcorn because it is not a great movie. Um, Trickster, I watched that movie 3 times. Both times I missed your part and kept watching to see you finally caught the third time. Oh yeah, like the 30 seconds I'm on film, man. I improvised such a great line and they cut it out. It's like I play the neighbor in Toy Box. I was also the key grip and the stunt coordinator on that movie. That's where all my time went. But they threw me a small part at the beginning. But it's like the dog runs out. I'm like, nice RV. Does it run on hope? But they cut it. I was so proud of that line. I walked away both times at that part. Thanks, Amir. Um, but yeah, when we were doing Clown Town, we were using uh we used Bob Kurtzman's makeup studio at the time because he was living back in Trestline, Ohio. And years before he had moved home because he doesn't have to work in LA to live or live in LA to work in LA anymore. So he moved back to Ohio, bought a bowling alley, gutted it, and that was his makeup studio. Place was awesome. So we used that as uh, our production base when we were filming it in Pressline. Dude's super cool. I got to hang out and have dinner with he and his now wife when I was at Dragon Con last year. Um, yeah, it's good people. That's why I missed your part. I blame my kids. That's fair. I'll take that. I'll accept that. Eric just sent me a message. Hang on a second. It's a video, so he's probably going to swear. Dick. He sent Tony and I a message. We went and got our marriage license yesterday. There's only one place you can get a marriage license and not actually get married on the spot in LA right now, and that's down at the Honda Center in Orange County. So we drove down there yesterday to pick that up. So that was fun. Um, let's see. What else? Anybody else have any other questions right now? Or things they want me to ramble and rant on? Because that's kind of what I do. Does that mean you're actually married? No, not yet. We have the marriage license, Amir, but we are getting married on Halloween. We're going to do a small little thing in a park on Halloween night. It's just the whoever can make it from the wedding party. And we were supposed to get married um, on November 7th, but because of everything, we ended up pushing it till next year, November 6th. Excuse me. But we still wanted to get married this year. So we have the marriage license. We're going to do a small thing. Whoever can make it from the wedding party is going to come out. We're going to get married and then have pizza, I think, and just hang out. But so that we can, but we're going to do that on Halloween. So that was, what was it like when you first moved out there? What was the only thing you had to get used to? The one thing I had to get used to. From living in the Midwest to being out west. I know, Tango. I'm super excited as well. Uh, did I send you pictures of where we're doing it at a park in the Palisade? It's beautiful because it overlooks over the ocean. It's gonna be really pretty. Um, when I first moved out here, what was the one thing I had to get used to? The distance. The traffic is about the same as in Chicago. It sucks most of the time, but it's bigger here than Chicago. Or the things that I needed were more spread out, so I needed to become more accustomed to planning the time to get there. The other thing was I didn't have to worry about freezing my ass off on the reg in wintertime because Chicago versus LA. Like the downside to LA is there aren't really seasons, but the upside to LA is there aren't really seasons. It's just warm all the time. Fall and winter are my favorite times in LA because I walk around in a t-shirt and jeans and everybody else has like parkas on at some point. I will say the only time that I've been cold in LA is if it's in the wintertime and I'm out in the desert. Because once the sun goes down in the desert in winter, like it can get below freezing. And I found that out the hard way. I ended up putting like uh not tough. What emergency blankets made out of? The reflective material. It's on the tip of my brain. Not cellophane. Um Damn it. Somebody can beat me to it. Gen C. Is it Mylar? Yeah, Mylar. I had like two or three Mylar blankets. I had put up an air mattress. So I put one under my sleeping bag and I put one in my sleeping bag that I was laying on and then one over me in my sleeping bag. And I was pretty toasty after that, but it gets cold in the desert. Here's an important question for I carried around 16 years. One time you showed me a breakfast burrito and ever since I try to recall it, but I don't get it right. What's your breakfast burrito secret? What? Breakfast burrito? You mean one that I made? I'm so confused, Max. Here's an important question I carry around for 16 years. Uh, was it one that, yes, I made it. Where did, was this at, was this at the house? Was this at Zeitvogel's? Did I make breakfast burritos there? Um, the big thing for breakfast burritos, yes, God, I don't know. My big thing for breakfast burritos, especially if I'm on set. Here's the other thing about being on set as a PA in the morning, you don't get to sit down and eat because you're constantly moving around. So if you want to eat, you have to do it on the go. So I usually, if I'm doing a breakfast burrito, I do bacon, egg, and cheese and hash browns in the burrito. Put the potatoes in there, you win every time. Um, I don't know if that's the one that I made, Max, uh, while you were there, but it's yeah. I usually do bacon, egg, and cheese. And yeah, and like grill up some hash browns so they're crunchy, and then put those in there as well. Just fucking golden. I was. Can you guys hear this? I was so spoiled on Criminal Minds. the lead guy in the catering truck, Hannah, that did all our food. Oh man, we don't have this over here. You don't have hash browns over there in Germany? That's terrible. Dude, just mince up potatoes and put them in a griddle. Fry that shit. Americanize it. We were so spoiled on Criminal Minds, like the catering truck. Every day I'd come, the Hannah would make, he usually had some type of marinated chicken already done. And he would do that with like salsa and avocado for me. But then he would put the cheese on the grill and put the tortilla on that and then fold it over so the cheese was crunchy on the outside. It was so good. I miss it so much. We have fried potatoes, but it's different. Well, I mean, that's fair. But yeah, potatoes in the burrito. Always. What kind of cheese? I usually do. My palate is horrible. I usually do American um, or cheddar, but like if I have a choice, like if they actually have good cheese, like I love Gruyere. Um, I love Vermont white cheddar because it's sharp, but it's not too dry. It makes great mac and cheese as well. But yeah, um, God, I can't. I used to have a standard for this, and I think it's changed because I upgraded or I evolved in my breakfast burrito process, Max. I think that's what happened. I don't remember what I used to do back in the day. Um, but I'm guessing it was scrambled eggs, cheese, bacon, and maybe some salsa, maybe some just regular like red salsa or green. Ooh, was it green? It might have been green, like green taco sauce. That might be it. That might be what you're missing. But now potatoes are definitely on that list. Like it's in the that's at zero. Like that's the baseline. Eggs, bacon, cheese, potatoes. Uh, who else is here? Okay, few. At least once a month, I think. What should I do for breakfast? Then I remember that one breakfast. Well, I was gonna put this on at work, but I can't get the idea to play. Blech. I usually make scrambled eggs with potatoes. Yeah, my fiance Tony she's a very picky eater, but it's by default because first of all, she's allergic to citrus, which sucks because you can't cook with oranges or lemons or anything like that or limes because she can't eat it. She also has a texture. Um, it's not an allergy, but like for instance, she can't have hamburger. She can't have ground beef because even though it tastes good, her stomach is like, nope, and it comes back. She hates it. Um, but she loves my eggs. She loves my scrambled eggs. So like she'll come like slinking into the room. She's like, "Can you make me eggs?" I'm like, yes, dear. Um, yeah, scrambled eggs with potatoes. Love hash browns. I was gonna put this on at work, but I can't get the idea to play. You can't get the video to play, House? That sucks. You must be the sixth person that came in. um, let's see what else. Question. So, if someone wanted to get into voice acting, where's a good place to start? Nice, Tango. Honestly, the mm, if you're not repped by anybody, which I am not, again, it's another thing. Like I do some voiceover stuff, but it's usually through people that I know, and now I do less of it because I'm SAG because a lot of that stuff was non-union. Um, the best part or the best way that I've found going about it is honestly Craigslist gigs. Like some things in Craigslist can be shady, but other things are. I mean, some things are legit. Like it's people that are doing independent studies, or another way you could do it is if you want to. get into it, you need to build yourself a reel. So even if you take scenes from something else and overlay your voice onto them, just as an example of what you could sound like, that's a good way to go about it. Most of the finishes that I have on my reel are from when I was working at a place called Ignition Creative. They're a trailer house here in town. By trailers, I mean like movie trailers that are the preview that you see in the theater, not the trailers that people actually rent to put at base camp to put the actors in. And I was doing what's called scratch for a long time for them because they knew I wanted to do voiceover. So they would let me do scratch, which is if you have a spot and you need voice, like say you have in the trailer world, there are about 10 people. This is back when they were doing a lot of narration for voiceovers. They're not doing a ton of it now. It's starting to come back, but it's still kind of hit or miss. They would have somebody like maybe Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime, like him. They would have him in mind for who they wanted to actually do the trailer. But until then, they would need somebody to fill that spot so they could put the edit together and get it where they wanted so that they could then get the copy correct, which is the words that are being used. And then when they actually call him, they only have to do it once because they've already got all their ducks in a row. So because of that, they would get someone who could sound like him, which I do a pretty good Peter Cullen. So I would mimic his voice a lot for trailers. And other times they just need somebody that could read the spot, read the words. And then when that happened, they would just replace it with somebody else. But sometimes they would have the producers hear it and they'd be like, whose voice is that? I really like that voice. Why don't we just use him? And so I got finishes because of that. Finishes are when it actually makes it into the final product. Probably my biggest finish there was for Brick Mansions, which was the last movie Paul Walker did before he died. But I'm all over the trailer for that movie. It's my voice doing the kind of narration. It's kind of me supposed to be the mayor. But they put my voice in that, and then I did a bunch of I did so much temp VO for Interstellar. So much. Like I was working on my Matthew McConaughey impression so much. I knew they weren't going to use me because they would actually get Matthew McConaughey for it. But I did so much temp VO for that trailer. I did a bunch for Insidious. I think I did a bunch for Pacific Rim, the second Pacific Rim. But none of it made it into the final cut. But like I did Homefront, Jason Statham movie. It's another one. There was a Russell Crowe movie where he played a politician. NCIS New Orleans. I did a bunch of temp VO for them as well. But that was scratch is how I made my reel. But a lot of that, again, you could just take the overlays of, or not the overlays, you could take like the finished product of that trailer and then just insert your voice over it just so they could say, hey, this is what I would sound like if I was doing this. And it's just a reel of different projects to show your range or your voice or the things that you are interested in doing. Like I have a different reel for my narration stuff than I do for my animation. I'm part of a podcast called Demon Days that my old roommate Jonathan is our DM for. But before that, we did an animated series called Flag It, and it's all 16-bit like Nintendo art. It was a lot of fun. But like for my animation reel, I have a bunch of stuff on that for it. I have some other stuff from Ignition that I did. And I'm still trying to build up my animation reel because I'd love to be the voice of a cartoon character. That would be so awesome. Or like dubbing anime. Part of the problem with that stuff is too, a lot of that stuff is non-union now, so I can't effectively do those anymore because it's not in the same bracket. Interstellar is my number one favorite movie of all time. Max, they're gonna hate me. I still haven't seen it. I know. I should. It's on my list. I still have not seen it. I don't know if it's because I felt so sad that I didn't actually have a part in the final thing. I need to watch it though. I definitely do. I know. Don't hate me. I know. I'm sorry. When working on set, what is the one thing you wish all sets did or followed? Oh my God. We don't have that long. Dude. So like you're supposed to have a 12, like the way that being paid on set works is you have what's called a day rate. This is what freelancers do a lot of the time. Like if you're on salary, you have a set rate for the year. If you're doing a day rate, it's a set rate for the day. And on film, it is usually set for 12 hours. So at minimum, you're going to have about a 12-hour day. So like if you're called at 7 a.m., you're going to be done around 7 p.m. And you'll have either a half hour or an hour in there for lunch, which tacks on. So it's really like 7:30 or 8. That being said, as a PA, you're not going to work usually less than a 14-hour day if you're working at 12. Excuse me, which is fine. And on union shows, they don't fuck around with it, but I cannot tell you how many times I have had to fight to get all the money I am owed for my freelance minimum wage, no benefits job. It is bullshit. It shouldn't have to be this hard. Like producers cut corners as much as they can because they want to save money. And many times that comes to fucking over the PAs. Perfect example of this. I can't remember what show it was, but I remember it was a Paramount show. They gave the PAs 5-gallon buckets to go to the bathroom in at their lockup so they wouldn't have to leave. Like if someone did that to me, I would be like, go fuck yourself. No, I'm going to go use the bathroom like a human. Like it's that type of bullshit that pisses me off so much on set. On Tuesday, I'm actually taking a course to become a COVID compliance officer because that's a thing now that people are needing. One of my AD friends has tried to pull me on. He's tried to pull me on set multiple times now to either help him out or do it for him. Well, no, it's mainly been to help him out so far. So that he has an assistant that's also trained in the same lingo and stuff. But like that is a legitimate concern right now. The new Batman movie got shut down already because Robert Pattinson has COVID now. He tested positive for it. Like, and my buddy Ken, we just had a conversation about this yesterday. He's like, so you're telling me that people want to go back to work and people are saying, no, it's going to be safe. But yet we have accidents on set all the time because of just negligence or whatever. I was doing a show where so if you are on a road anywhere, you should have what's called ITC. It's intermittent traffic control. And usually you hire police to do that and they will block off the road. Or say you're doing what's called a process trailer. If you've ever seen a car driving in a movie and the camera is like right on front, that's one of two things. That is the camera is literally mounted on the hood, or the car is on a trailer and then you have a truck that looks like a flatbed on the back, but it's got rails and everything, and the cameras are set up with crew and the car is pulling that car around on a trailer and they're acting like they're driving, but really they're just sitting there because the car's on a trailer. That's called a process trailer. I lost my train of thought. Oh, so if you're doing that, you have to have the road blocked off. Otherwise, you've got traffic that can go in and out. You have people that'll pull up and like ruin the take or like, hey, film me. So that type of stuff. You have to own the road when you're doing that. We were shooting up north in a small town, so they didn't block off the road. They didn't pay to block off the road. And we were shooting outside this place and people were standing in the street. And I'm like, guys, you cannot be in the road. We don't own it. And people, even the producers, We're like walking back and forth. And this is one of the reasons people hire me, because I'm loud and I also voice my opinion. It's also the reason some people don't hire me back. But I was like, get out of the road. Like, I'm yelling at this point. Get out of the road. If you're in the road, you're doing it wrong. And one of the producers, my friend, came up to me. She's like, Drew, you can't do that. You can't. I'm like, no, I can. Like, and many of you, if you follow the movie industry, you probably know who Sarah Jones is. She was the PA, or I think she was a camera assistant. Basically, on Midnight Rider, she got killed because they were on train tracks that the producer said they owned, but they didn't because they couldn't get the permits, but they shot there anyway. They were on a bridge and a train came and they had to get out of the way, and she couldn't, and she got fucking killed. Now, and I used this as an example. I was like, what can you literally hear and see and sometimes feel coming if you're on train tracks a mile away? A train, right? Right. If we're on a road and no one's paying attention and a fucking Prius comes around the corner, not watching what they're doing, so those cars don't make noise, someone's going to get hurt or possibly killed. We cannot be in the road. She was like, no, you're right. You're right. Like, I know I'm right. Help me get these people out of the road, please. Like, it's that type of, it's safety is the number one concern on set most of the time, because many times it's just no one gives a shit. Like, no, it'll be fine. But the problem is that if you become complacent with that behavior, that's when somebody gets hurt. It's like working with power tools. The minute you don't respect what they can do, you'll get your finger cut off. It's the same basic thing. And so, like, that's the type of shit that I wish was more taken care of on set. And like on the bigger sets, it's not a big deal. But like on smaller shoots where you have like student films, or it's non-union and small and people are learning, like it's some things that people don't know about. They don't have the foresight to see it because they haven't experienced it yet. But if you're doing something like that, you need to have that. You need to make sure that your crew is taking care of it safe. Like when you're background, there's so many things we could talk about for background on movie sets, but like many of the non-union, most background are non-union because they're cheaper. And if you need big, huge shots of background, which background is anybody that you see in the background of a scene, they're paid to be there because they have to be able to be controlled. Because if you're like, okay, everybody back to one, which means like your first mark when they start the scene, and they'll usually have their own call. It'll be like, okay, and background will start moving. Action, like they call that beforehand, because if everybody starts moving on action, it looks fake. It's like there's a beat of just nothing and then people move. So they'll call background, those people will move, and then they'll call action, and the actors come into the scene while the scene is moving. Background is very important for the scene, but many times they're treated like shit. If you're a SAG background, you get treated a little bit better because there's a union behind you and someone that will actually cause problems for the production. But if you're not SAG, it's usually like, and if I am working background, I usually try and treat everybody with the same respect I would want myself. That's rule one. Don't be a dick. Like, it's literally the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like, that type of respect is not given across the board on movie sets, and it should be, especially to background. Because if there are, my first background call was on Dark Knight, the second Christian Bale movie for Batman. There were, I think, 200 of us, because it's when the Joker has set bombs everywhere and they're trying to evacuate everybody, and they put people on the boats. Like, I was there for a lot of that. But like, there were so many people, and it's Chicago, so it's not a first area town, which is a different thing. But we all got boxed lunches, which is fine. Like, they still fed us, but like, if there's a scene, like sometimes producers will pay for background to have their own lunch line, which is good because that means everybody can eat at the same time. Everybody's getting the same food. But sometimes, like, crew goes through and actors go through, and then background goes through. And if it's on a smaller set and people don't plan ahead, sometimes they'll run out of food and they have to go order pizza or something. Like it's that type of shit that annoys me. That um, all the T's aren't crossed and all the I's aren't dotted for everything that needs to happen on set. Um, how do you get those sample tapes out? The sorry, that was kind of a rant. Going back to voiceover sample tapes, like I have mine on YouTube, and if I see an audition for something, I will just link it and send it. Um, hard copies aren't used that much anymore. Like I can't tell you the last time I sent out an actual solid like hard copy headshot. I have them for when I go into auditions, but sometimes like I'll ask like, do you guys need a headshot? And like, no, 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 we've got it on the casting website. Cool. But I have them just in case. Hard copies for auditions for voiceover aren't much of a thing anymore. Just because it's easier to send a link to something than it is to put a CD in a disk drive, which like I just got a Next Build Tower, their streaming PC. That's what I'm working on now. It didn't even come with a disk drive. Like I had to order one just so I had one, or like a jump drive or something. So like I would say jump drive is maybe the easiest way to do it. If you wanted to send one. Um, but that would be uh if you're looking for representation, you could send those to agents maybe. Um, but for actual auditions, I would just say send a link. That's how I do it. Um, would you want to watch Space Out of Time tonight when I get home? Space Out of Time. What's Space Out of Time, Mouse? In Vince. Tenant changed my view on Sparkly Batterson. I hope he gets well soon. Yeah, Pattinson's an awesome actor. He really, really is. Yeah, I hope he gets well soon too. I'm walking here. Oh, for the road stuff, yeah. When working on accents, do you have any tips or tricks? People do that very differently. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a dialect coach, and we were talking about an accent. And he was like, "How do you learn? Like, do you learn by ear? Do you do it out phonetically?" I'm like, "I do a little bit of both, but I mainly by ear." He's like, "Okay," and he gave me there's a website. The Ingram is I not Ingram the it's idea, but it's the International Dialect for English Archive. It's a website you can go to, and it's just got dialects speaking in like in English of everywhere. It's all over the world. So like if I need to learn an accent, that's the first place I go so that I can hear different examples of it. They usually have excerpts from books that hit all the um, uh, diphthongs and consonants and all like it's specifically chosen so that you can hear all those things. And they usually go through one or two or three of those different readings, and people will read them, and you can hear the differences in where they are, and then they are or where they're from. Like they'll label like where they're from, where they grew up, if they move to a different place, so you get the fluctuation of their accent, so to speak, or where it's derived from, or what they were influenced by. It's a great website, um, but that's where I usually go for that. And then the phonetic alphabet is great because it's literally you can write stuff out. When I took voice and diction in college, we had we had a workbook, and we would just use the phonetic alphabet, and that's how we would break things down by accent. Because our teacher would put worksheets out for like a Cockney accent, and he would show like what changes, like this sound goes to this sound. So a phonetic dictionary is really helpful for that type of stuff as well. If you want to like, if you have an actual script and you want to transpose it into phonetic alphabet so that you can get those different sounds, that's a great trick. Um, Prius, it's a green ninja. Yeah, exactly. Wait, I'm not supposed to be nice? No, House, you're never nice. I work security on. Oh, Dark Knight. Yeah, I know. Yeah, because you were guarding Bale that day, right? I remember it's when he's going through the mall on the motorcycle, I think. You said like you're in the background somewhere. I remember that. Yeah. Wait a minute, that's not Chicago, it's Gotham. Yeah, right. Yeah, Chicago is Gotham City. Although, I mean, LA is part of it now too, because we moved that part, or they moved over in uh, Dark Knight Rises. They were shooting a lot of stuff here for that because they got rid of the tax incentive for Chicago. Governor just went, no, we're done. Same thing with Michigan. The Marvel universe was supposed to be in Michigan, and the governor went, no, I still don't get it. It would have been so much money for the state. But now most of it's in Atlanta, which is where a shit ton of stuff is being filmed now anyway. Um, what's your favorite English accent besides German, of course? Nice, Max. Uh, Cockney is probably the one that I have the most fun with. I'm actually for the stream that we're doing on Eric's channel on Eric Frankhouse Presents. My character Voss is using a Cockney accent. Um, I'm having a lot of fun with it, which is cool. It's actually a lot of the lingo that I'm using from that I got from, um, or I'm using from the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes because there's so many different characters in that, and it's supposed to be Victorian anyway, so I'm able to pick up a lot of those colloquialisms. I can talk from that show, and I'm using them in for the character of Voss Calcor in that game. Um, how do you guide someone to embrace the sound of their voice? Um, good question. I have a bass baritone register, like I have since high school. Because of that, sometimes it's hard for me to do higher register stuff. Like it's like it's like being a character actor or like this is not leading man. And I've known that for a long time. If I shave my face and I'm actually in shape, I could pass as a Lex Luthor. Like it's that could work. But without like right now, if I shaved sorry. Right now, if I shaved this beard, I've said this before, I would look like a toe. It's not good. Uh, but that being said, I know what my type is, and that's very important as an actor to know. That's another thing that people have problems with. Like, I want to be a star. It's like, you're not going to be a star. You're going to be like right now, I'm somewhere between like the fat best friend and the villain because I could play either because I'm jolly, but I'm also scary if I need to be. Like it's the same type of thing with a voice. You have to know what you can be uh, sold or marketed as. That's very important if you're going to pursue anything in the acting world. You have to know what your type is. When we were in college, uh, our acting teacher told us then he's like 9 times out of 10 it's going to come down to look, and it absolutely did because when we were in even when we were doing plays in college, like at auditions after we were done reading, they'd bring us all up and he would move us next to people like you stand by you because it has to look believable. It has to be a good picture for the audience to see. It's the same thing as television, more so because there's so much more money in it. Voice, it's a little bit easier. Like that's the thing about voice actors. Like, God, what is it Airheads or is it, damn it, it might be Airheads or it might be, maybe it's, maybe it's Wayne's World. I remember there's a movie where, not Phil, what is his name? Actually, hang on. It's not, it might be Wayne's World. There's a, see. And he was in Mighty Wind. He's part of the band. He's the guy who transitions. No, it's not him. Harry Shearer. He plays Mark Shub, but Harry Shearer. I remember there's a movie where he plays a disc jockey, and he has he's like the sexiest voice in town. And he gets there and like his hair's just everywhere, and he looks like he hasn't slept in a year. And you could play a young Liam Davos. And, oh my god, dude! I can't tell you how many times I heard Davos from Game of Thrones. Like I was like, yeah, if they ever do people were like, if they ever do a flashback sequence for Davos, you have to do that. I was like, all right. I actually sent my stuff to the casting director just in case they ever did it. I never heard back though. But yeah, Harry Shearer, was he in Wayne's World? I can't remember if the hell, when was Wayne's World? Was that 98, 97? Wayne's World. Handsome Dan. Yes, it was Wayne's World. He played Handsome Dan, but like they walk in and it's like, hey, Handsome Dan. Oh God. And because they see him and it's just like he looks homeless. People, voiceover actors, you don't need to see their face. They can do everything with their voice, which is great. And the freedom that gives you as an actor, not only having to deal with the public, but also just as your ability to transform into different characters is awesome. Like so many times, like young kids are played by women because their vocal range is higher and they can mimic their voice to sound like small children. So I would say like trying to find like listen to different shows and see what you can mimic. Like actually for one of Tango's games that we're playing 5th edition in, I'm doing Patrick Warburton for one of our characters just because it fucking fits. Like it's the way that the voice sounds and the intonation and the cadence, and it's just like it's what it is. I don't make it up. I just kind of follow what he does because it's funny. Like it's probably not a great impression of him because I wasn't really focused on it, but like knowing what you can do as a voice actor and building off of that is how you figure out how to embrace your voice. You find out what you can literally embrace, and that's what you use. So sad I wasn't in Michigan. Yeah, the buildings in Detroit would have been awesome. Do you recommend schooling for acting, or do you believe many can act and take courses to refine who they are? You don't have to, like, I was a theater major in college. That's where I was trained. I was trained on stage. There are many places, especially here in LA, that you can take acting lessons. There is for me, taking acting lessons takes a great deal of trust because of the fact that if you start learning something and it's bad, but you don't know the difference and you learn that, then you have to unlearn all the bullshit in order to learn what's correct. So I would say do your homework. And honestly, it comes down to what you believe you want to portray as an actor and through your characters, like whatever works for you. Some people use Meisner. Some people, like I was trained with Stanislavski, and it makes a lot of sense to me. It's all about personal choice. Like I have friends that the history of theater is a great way to find answers to that question as well. Like I have a couple friends that studied very intensely in Commedia dell'arte, both in college and in a master's program. And then after they got out, like they joined specific troupes that were focused in Commedia dell'arte. And the whole point of that is I think there's 6 to 8 types of characters that are like the grounds for every character there are, like the fool or the fighter or archetypes, if you will. There's an acting coach here in LA. His name's John Coppola, and I have friends that have studied with him, and I audited one class of theirs, and I liked it a lot. He has a full list of archetypes that you can embody for characters, and that gives you a basis of where to go on. It's a really cool system. I think there's one called the Amazon, which is it's a powerful woman archetype that isn't afraid to fight, or there is the beggar, or there is the charlatan, or there's the politician. Like it's different things like that, but it's a base of what you can build a character on to get you into the proper mindset for that. So it's it's a very good question, and I think that is part of the problem. Like I said before, with a lot of actors that come here to town, they come here with no training. They just think they're going to be a star because people in their small hometown said, "Oh, you're so good, you should be on Broadway," and they take that to heart. And then they go and they're like, "I don't belong on Broadway. I have no business being here." Or they don't see that and they keep going their whole lives and nothing happens. Which is sad. It can be very sad and very discouraging. But the other point of that fact is that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to make it in this damn town, because people come out here and like they have a look, but they have no acting ability whatsoever. And they get on screen and they start talking and you're just like, what am I watching? How did this person get cast? And you see them next to the other person and you're like, well, I mean, they're pretty. So there's that. But like, it's very discouraging as an actor. Because that's one of the reasons, like, to get a big agent, you need to become SAG first, because that shows that you have at least stuck it out long enough that you have joined the union and you take it seriously, and people can take you seriously because of that, as opposed to you should cast me because I'm a great actor. Like, I don't know you. I don't know who you are, what you're about, anything like that. Hello. My fiance just walked in the room. She has new glasses. She's super cute.
I don't even know if I'm in frame.
You are.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Hello.
Did you see the message Eric sent?
No, I was with a student.
Okay, you should watch it. It's kind of cute.
What are you doing?
I'm doing the show that I'm going to be trying to do on Thursdays. I'm talking about the film industry and answering questions. And yeah, Eric's here. My buddy Max from Germany's here. Amir's here. Tango's here.
I feel a little bit like Clark Kent. Like, glasses.
Who are you?
Disguise!
Oh, Clark, hi. It's my date. Where were we? Is there anything on the path of becoming an actor that you would tell someone to avoid at all costs? Oh, yeah, easily. If there's an agent that says you need to pay me this money so that I can work for you, it's a scam. Leave. Agents do not get paid until you get paid, because they take a commission off of what you make, period. That is not the same thing as there's a couple casting sites out, like LA Casting is one, Casting Networks is another, although it's the same setup. There's Actors Access. You can pay for the services. Basically, it's a hosting site that allows you to send, first of all, they have people that come there and say, we want to audition for this role. We're going to post this. And then anybody that's on this service can send their stuff in and be like, I want to audition for this. So it works both ways. It's a hosting site for projects to find actors and actors to find projects. That stuff, like I'm on 3 or 4 of them. And I pay, sometimes it's depending on the pricing, like it's a monthly thing versus a yearly thing. But if an agent says, I'm going to represent you, I need $200 up front so that I can pay for, like when I first got here, I met this guy that he was an agent. He supposedly repped one of the women that was on Entourage. I think it's the same woman that was in The Crow, but he was like, "Oh, I've repped her," and he's like, "I need $200 so we can pay for mailing and postage and all that, so I can send out headshots." And this was like 10 years ago, and even then, I was like, "No," because if you're not emailing by now, I'm not going to want to work with you because you are obviously not in touch with the industry of what is going on. Go with your gut first and foremost. If it feels like it's a scam, probably is, but never pay up front for that type of stuff unless it is like LA Casting or something like that. Like if you're paying for a service to submit yourself, like the agency that I'm with now, I'm with a company called Abstract Talent Agency. One of my agents is actually Howie Mandel's wife. She runs it with her friend Jan, and I am on Casting Networks, LA Casting, Actors Access, and I just joined Backstage as well. So I think that's four that I'm with. But they have different sites that they use to submit people with, and so I was on those anyway, but I'm on those as well so that they can submit. So that type of stuff is different than an agent actually wanting money up front. So avoid that first and foremost. How long does it take to join SAG? Honestly, it varies for everybody. The way that there's two ways you can join. One, you can join the union by becoming what's called Taft-Hartley, which is it's a kind of loophole in the rules. Basically, it's so that people can go, this person isn't union, but I want them. I need them. They're perfect for the part. We're going to Taft-Hartley them, make them SAG. So basically, it skips the 3 steps that you have to have for vouchers, and then you just pay the initiation fee, and then you're in, which is actually what happened to me because, well, we made it happen because we did a project specifically so we could join SAG before they changed one of the loopholes in the new media agreement, which I'm fine with. The other way that you do it is you do background, which I was talking about before. There are union and non-union vouchers. If you are hired non-union, you'll have a non-union voucher. Sometimes if you have like a special skill or something, they will bump you to like say you're a juggler and they didn't have any union jugglers, but they have you. They will bump you and give you a union voucher for that day because you're juggling on set. It's a special skill that they needed. Or say they need fiery haired, redheaded twins and they don't have anybody that they can pull in, but there's a non-union group. They can then, if that was a union spot, they'll give them a union voucher. And then they have that voucher for the day. You need 3 union vouchers in order to join SAG. But technically, you have to be SAG to work a union voucher. So like that's one way you can get bumped up to a voucher. If you know somebody, be like, hey, can you get me a union voucher today? Like if you know one of the PAs or the second AD, they can hook you up and get you a union voucher. Or this is the other way, say, because you have to have per SAG rules, you have to have so many SAG background before you hire non-union background. Say there's 16 total, 10 of those need to be SAG, and then 6 of them can be non-union. Say one of the 10 doesn't actually show up. That voucher is now free. You could, if you were running production, you could give that voucher to one of the non-union people and just cross them off and then write their names in it. So, but you need 3 of those. And then once you have 3 of those, you get your eligibility and then you can join. So that's how you get into SAG. So it depends on it's luck of the draw, Amir. It just depends on what the circumstances are. And who's on set that day. And there's, I will say, just jumping on with that, like there are so many, for anybody who's an actor or anybody who is questioning their ability to join the industry, specifically actors, though. And I got this from Bryan Cranston off something he said off an interview that he did. There's this, and then George Clooney said something that's also really great, but it did change the way I look at this whole process. Bryan Cranston was talking about there are so many things that go into making a project, making a movie, making a TV show, so many moving parts that you have zero control over. So if you're auditioning, first of all, you're auditioning for the job. So if you don't get it, don't think that, oh, I lost that job. You never had the job to begin with. Don't do that to yourself. When you audition, you walk into the room, show them who you are, show them what you can do, and then leave and forget about it. Because that's what you're doing. You're auditioning. Don't pine for that. Just let it go. If you fit, you fit, and they'll call you. And if they call you, then you can worry about it. And when he, like, people had told me that, like, auditioning is about being just being relaxed and not being nervous, but also knowing your shit, knowing your lines, like having the right etiquette. Like, that's the stuff that you study. But on the day when you do it, walk in the room, show them who you are, walk out. And there's a bunch of different videos you can watch about like what not to do in auditions. Like, casting directors have put many of these out, like things that they hate, things that they love. Research that stuff. But the other thing is this, and this is something George Clooney said, and it made, like, I had never heard it put into these words before, and it just fucking clicked right when it happened, or when I heard it, and it all made sense. Being on both sides of things, because he's been an actor and he's directed, and I've actually done the same thing. Like, I've been on the casting process, and I've been the one wanting to be cast. And this is absolutely true. When you walk into the room, everyone on the other side of the table is hoping you're their answer. They're hoping you're the one. They're already in your corner. So relax. Do what you're doing and get out. Make them remember you, not in a bad way. But they're already rooting for you. So don't worry about that. Like, don't let that stress overcome you. They're on your side. And that just blew my mind. Like, I had never heard it worded that way, and it made total sense to me. And ever since, like, I used to get nervous for some auditions, but now I don't, because I have that mindset of I can't do anything about it. So why not just have fun, show who I am, and be myself? And it literally makes all the difference. Sorry, I rant a lot and I go off on tangents, so I apologize. Can you join right away? I think I answered that. Hi, hello. I have two more questions. By the way, if this gets regular on Thursdays, first, like the time I can watch while getting ready to sleep. Second, on Thursdays, I like to get a tour through your background shelf. Oh, noted. I'll keep that in mind, Max. Eric, are there any networks of people you would tell someone who wants to? Are there any networks of people you would tell someone who wants in the industry to join? There are, depending on what you want to do, there's a there's a Facebook group for it, hands down. There's probably more than one. Some of them, like, join them, and if you don't like what you see, leave. That's just first. No, first rule is don't be a dick. Second rule is, like, take what makes sense, leave the bullshit behind in any sense. Like, if it's a class or if you're interacting with somebody, like, learn what makes sense to you, leave the rest. Like, don't worry about it. I would say the same thing. There are, in town, there's a couple groups that do meetups, obviously less now. Excuse me, but there used to be a networking group that I would go to, and it was mainly like non-union peeps, and they would go and they would talk. Like, I think I went to the W downtown in Hollywood a couple of times, and they'd rent out the patio, and it would be like drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and you could just meet people. It was just like a mixer for film peeps that wanted to get together and just meet others and collaborate on stuff. Um, so that is that's one route. Aside from that, groups wise, one one of the things that I have not really done while being in town that I need to do is start taking regular classes, because again, it's word of mouth. People work with who they like and who they know, and classes are a big way to pull talent. Like, you know what? I know somebody perfect for this role. So I'm in class with him, and if it's okay with you, I'd love to invite him so you two could meet and talk about this, because I think he would be a really great fit. It's like that type of shit happens all the time. Um, so taking classes and doing workshops and working with people in the industry is one of the best ways to network, because there aren't really a whole lot of ways to network other than that. What movie do you have in your head that you would love to act or be a part of? That's why I'm here on the tangent wrangler. I appreciate it. I mean, if they ever do a God of War movie, like, I will bulk the fuck up for that role. I would love to play Kratos. That would be amazing. If they ever do a Drizzt series, I don't know who I could play in it, but I would just love to be a part of it. I certainly wouldn't be Drizzt. Paul Goss would need to play that role. Um, and if you don't know who Paul Goss is, he played the Elven Prince in Hellboy 2, Golden Army. Um, he's just incredible. Or Luke Goss. I'm sorry, not Paul Goss. Luke Goss. Goss. Prince Nuada. He's God. If they ever make a Dritz movie, he needs to play that role. So I know you play and like tabletop. Do you also have a favorite board game? Betrayal at the House on the Hill. Favorite board game. Perfect Kratos. Boy. Yeah. I'm so excited that they're making a new one. I'm gonna have to buy or get a PS5 for that, because that teaser just dropped yesterday. Oh, you playing it, Amir? I'm gonna take a quick break, and because of that, you guys are gonna get to see the beard commercial that I made. So I will be right back. I'll see you in like 3 to 5 minutes.
I gotta take a shower. It really does feel so good on your face. Turn that on, and then we lock it so it doesn't set anything on fire. Depending on the size of your beard, the amount you use varies. I like to use 4 to 8 drops, usually around 6. This is the Viking Storm scent, which I really like, and more importantly, my fiance really likes. You get that in. Oil. The oil helps moisturize your beard, shape it. It also moisturizes the skin underneath, which is nice, helps prevent breakouts, and also smells really good. And then the final touch, beard balm, as opposed to the Struff balm, which they have. The beard balm, again, the amount you use depends on the size of the beard. Voila. And that's that. Remember to use the promo code STRENGTH24 to save yourself 15%. That also helps support myself and the stream. So thanks very much for stopping by. Happy gaming.
All right. Sorry about that, everybody. My Dave Matthews moment. Anybody still here? So I know you play on like tabletop, but you also have a board game. Oh, right. Yeah, board game wise, Betrayal at the House on the Hill is one of my favorites. Seafall's pretty awesome too. If you haven't played Seafall, it's a legacy game. It's pretty rad. It's a lot of world building and a lot of it's co-op and PvP at the same time. It's fun. I got the same stuff. Really a beer game changer. Thanks for the fit. Oh, you got it, Max? Awesome. Yeah, no, it's the beard oil, all of their products are pretty great. The heated comb is awesome. Their wooden comb, I really, really love. Like the teeth are wide and it doesn't like I usually use that to go through and pull out all the tangles first before I use the other stuff. I love their wooden comb. Um I'm always here. Okay, we are slow on back. Eric, you're at work, right? Like you're working right now? It's fantastic. Oh man. Top 3 music bands for me? Oh man. Um just the audio option. Nice. Top 3 music bands. Well, my favorite band, most people have never heard of, because it was a band from Chelsea, near where I grew up in Michigan, and they were called South Normal. They put out 4 albums. Um, it was local people. They could have blown up. They absolutely could have blown up. They were uh, just the audio. Check your phone. I just ordered that for my background. Oh, did you text me something? What? Dude, that's dope. Glows in the dark. This is an Etsy purchase. Somebody made this. Holy shit. That looks awesome. That looks freaking cool. For those of you that can't see it, it's a ghost in a mirror plaque where I guess the ghost glows in the dark. That looks pretty rad. So yeah, South Normal is their name. I think you can find them on iTunes. They were they're influenced by the Who and a bunch of other classic rock bands. They've got a great sound, great songs, and they probably could have gone big, but they didn't want to. They wanted to stay a small band. They were being backed by Budweiser, and I think they had a guitarist from Fender, I think. But they didn't want to take it anywhere, or at least enough of them didn't want to that they didn't. But they're still my favorite band because I'm a loyalist. Metallica has been one of my favorite bands throughout the years. But my music taste is pretty eclectic. I don't know that I have a third top band. I love blues. I love bluegrass. I love scores. I love music scores. I listen to those a lot. Uh, but it's pretty eclectic. Like the soundtrack for Batman Begins is still one of my all time favorite things to listen to. Um, I love Zach Brown Band. Um, let's see. Um, Yeah, it's I don't even know if I can pick a third one. I'll have to think about that and get back to you. Like you know them actually who, South Normal? S&M 2 is sick. Oh yeah, the Symphony Metallica. Yeah, that album's great. Oh, you linked it. Nice. Dude. Yeah, that's dope. Especially for the Athantia game, like that being on the wall, that's only $60. Dude, that might need to happen. Oh, there's more than one. Dude, the one with the candlestick? That's pretty dope. Thanks for linking that. That's awesome. Oh, did I show you the soundtrack? Yeah. Yeah, South Normal. Yeah, they were one of my favorite bands. Like I got into them at Siena. I might have introduced you to them actually. Did you ever come to a show with me? Like they play, I don't know if they played up at oh, they might have played at Clutch Cargo. That maybe that's where you know them because they played all over Detroit. Um uh I saw them a couple of times at Magic Bag. But they played in Chelsea. They played at the Wooden Nickel in Ipsy a lot. I brought them to Siena, I think twice. Uh, yeah, their music's great. I'll have to figure out a way to pipe that in so we can listen to some songs or something. That would be dope. Were they at Clutch? Yeah, I figured as much. Yeah, nice. Hmm. I was looking at the text chat. I was like, huh, I wonder if we have 5 people in here. I realized that I'm one of them, so it probably doesn't count. That's one of the things that I need is like 5 people talking in chat at the same time in my analytics. It's funny. It'll happen. Does anybody else have any? Is this fun and informative? I'm thinking about reaching out to some teachers that I know that teach the arts and possibly doing this as something they could do where they could watch it and have the kids ask questions. Do you think that would be worthwhile? Like, is this something that would be interesting? Oh, the movie I want to watch tonight. Yeah, what movie are you talking about? Oh wow. I appreciate you. Go on, baby. Go on. Well, go on. Dog is ridiculous. I know she does. That's half the reason I put it down there, so she'd have a place to lay, but she doesn't want to stay in here. Uh, she has PTSD from me playing video games because I yell at them a lot. Um, oh, the movie I want to watch tonight, Space Out of Time. Oh, Color Out of Space. Yeah, dude, Color Out of Space. You haven't seen it yet? Holy shit. Yeah, I'd be down to watch it again. Hey, babe. For me, it would be nice since I have no clue what's going on to the actors world, especially in the U.S. I mean, my hand is certainly not on the pulse right now, just because it's kind of dead, so there is no pulse. But that being said, I mean, yeah, I'm thinking about like people that are involved in the arts or like are teaching theater classes, which I'm sure is tough right now. Um, yeah, I know I've seen it, House. It's awesome. I thought you had seen it already. Man, if you guys haven't watched Mandy with Nick Cage, that is a fucking ride. Like you should you should not do drugs when you watch it because you might encounter some problems. Um, but like you should watch that movie sober, and then maybe if you can handle it, watch it with drugs. I don't really do drugs, so I haven't watched it with it. But like I can imagine the trip that would ensue would be horrific, depending on what you take. You fell asleep, Amir. How? What? We aren't friends anymore. Yeah. You didn't like it? Oh God, it was such a wild ride. Like it was Nick Cage at 100 miles an hour, like from about 2/3 of the way in. Well, yeah, because it's all you people and you hating exposition. Tony's the same way. She hates exposition. Watch the whole thing. Dude, you fell asleep for the second half? Amir. Vote kick. I didn't say I hated it. It put me to sleep. No, that's fair. You need to watch the whole thing. Like Nick Cage. Oh my God. Yeah, you have, dude. House, we should watch that. We should watch Mandy and Color Out of Space. Like, I'm not saying tonight, but we should definitely watch that with Amir. Like, I am totally down. It's two movies in one, and goddamn, an unhinged ride. Yeah, no shit, dude. Like, it is wild. I want to, as an actor, I want to ask Nick Cage the question. For those of you that have seen it, and Amir, you probably saw this part, or maybe you did. Maybe I don't think it's gonna spoil anything though. There is like I said, strength aren't friends now. That's not true. I want to ask Nicolas Cage um whether or not the bottle in the bathroom was a trophy or a crutch. I want to hear what he says to that. Like I have my own opinion, but I want to hear his answer because I'm interested in what he has to say. The other like another question like that I want to ask, if you haven't seen Hateful Eight, I want to ask Samuel L. Jackson, and I wish I would have uh, thought of it when I was with him on um, fucking Unicorn Store. I want to ask him if his character in Hateful Eight, if the story he tells Bruce Stern about his son is real or fake. Like I know what I believe, but I want to hear what his answer is. It's that type of stuff that makes my, as Ken would say, my heart go pitter pat for the acting world. Um, I'd be down. I'll have to go back and finish it. Close your ears. I love the money. I love the money. That is the answer to that. Cheddar Goblin. I believe Mona owns it. He bought the fucking Cheddar Goblin. Jesus. Ken has a t-shirt. They made a t-shirt and Ken was like, yoink, and he bought that. I was like, that's amazing. Sorry, I love The Money Pit. The Money Pit. What? That's not a Nicolas Cage movie. That's Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. Although I do love that movie. It's fucking great. I love Amir. Oh, it's a Family Guy reference. I was like, what the hell? I was like, where the hell did that come from? The Money Pit's a great. Wait, God damn it, Amir. Have you not seen The Money Pit?
when they got mad at him for saying he hated The Godfather. I haven't seen that episode. Yeah, a long time ago. Oh, God, that movie's. I mean, it's Tom Hanks. Like it's the movie's so funny. And oh, what the hell is his name? The long-haired blonde from Die Hard. Um, uh, the guy that like the Hans Gruber's right hand man. I can't remember that actor's name. He's in so much stuff from the 80s. Fight Club for sure. Oh my god, dude, fucking Fight Club. So here's what I tell people when they ask about like what's it like being a stuntman, or like what's your thing that you hate about stunts. Thing that I hate most about stunts, stair falls. Absolutely hate them. I don't do them if I can possibly help it. I wrecked my shoulder once on doing them. Um, but yeah, I had them. I hate them. Oh, you're heading out. All right, thanks, House. Hit me up when you get off work. Um, in Fight Club, when Edward Norton's character gets thrown down the stairs, and he just goes over and over and over again, in the bathrobe and shorts, where it's obvious that's what he's wearing, so they can't pad him at all. They did so many takes of that, and the dude was just like, "Well, I got to do it," and he would just throw himself down the stairs, and they ended up using the first take. But I think they took like 10 takes of it. Like it sucks being a stuntman. Like he got paid well for that, but yeah, that's what if you're not comfortable doing that type of shit, don't get into stunts. All right. Let's see. Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11. What does it mean? In fact, I'm staying in your hotel. Two words for you, mini bar. What does it mean? In fact, I'm staying in your hotel and I have two words for you, mini bar. In Germany, they translated mini bar with gummy bears. Ah! You know what? Uh, I can't remember the exact meaning of that line. I'll have to watch it again. I vaguely remember the line. Wait, is it um who's Brad Pitt talking to, or is somebody talking to Brad Pitt? Is Andy Garcia talking to Brad Pitt, or is Brad Pitt talking to somebody else? I can't remember the setup for that. He calls the owner of the casino while he's in his hotel. I have two words for you, mini bar. Is he playing is he playing his character, or is he pretending to be somebody else? I can't remember the context of that scene. I'll have to watch it again. I'll get back to you on that. I'll have to watch it again. um, I think he calls the owner of the casino while he's in his hotel. I'm trying to remember what part that is. I don't. Yeah, I'll have to watch it. um, but yeah, I'm thinking about like reaching out to arts teachers and see if this is something that they might want to talk about. Well, I think there's only three of us in here right now. Max, you wanted to tour around the shelf behind me? Is that what we were talking about? All right. Well, the bottom parts are kind of a mess right now. So
This is one of Tony's shelves right here. Dresden Files, a bunch of World of Darkness stuff, Mage, Geist, Vampire, Changeling. And that last book is not hers. That's a wargaming book. This one's also hers. She's got pretty eclectic role-playing taste as well. She's got some Pathfinder here, Blades of the Dark. There's a game that she picked up. Hang on. There's a game called Shadows of Esterin. And this was at, I think, 2 years ago. It obviously wasn't this year. I don't know if it was last year. It might have been 3 years ago. But she found a notebook that she really liked and was like, oh, well, that's part of this set. She's like, well, tell me about the set. She bought the whole thing. We have yet to play it, but yeah, Shadows of Esterin is the name of it. It's like a gothic horror type setting, I think. And she's got the new Vampire the Masquerade. She has the Witcher role playing game she picked up that CD Projekt Red did. Then she's got the full book of Curse of the Crimson Throne, which is a Pathfinder Adventure Path for Pathfinder 1, and then some 3.0 books. And up there, I've got Starfinder. I've got the Razor Coast books that I got from Iron GM 2 years ago. I've got the War for the Crown Adventure Path up top. Move this way a little bit so you guys can hear me better. A bunch of other Pathfinder stuff. Max, were you here? Did you go to Disney when we did the Pirates of the Caribbean and I bought this skull? It was one of the times we were at Disney. It's filled with wooden D6s. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it is chock full of them. Like, I've had this for years, and I've been saving it for a specific time when I can use it. But that's up there. I've got a fly fishing tying lure system that I use for painting minis sometimes. Inner Sea Gods, Pathfinder setting, Book of the Damned, Pathfinder, Inner Sea World Guide, and oh man, this is turn around again. This is my beta playtest book from Pathfinder 1. This is what we, like when this book came out, we were playing 4th edition and we were like, well, we're done with this. And we started playing Pathfinder, which is pretty much what this whole row is, aside from my Pathfinder 2 core rule book, which is up top. And then this is the D&D Icons of the Realms for 5th. This is set pieces for Dungeons and the Mad Mage. It's Hallister's lab. I got it on sale. One of the reasons I picked it up is Tony has the the full Mad Mage book set with the map pack, so I figured I'd pick that up just in case we ever wanted to run it. I think we didn't go together, but that's awesome. Roll D6s. Yeah, I know it's full. Let's see. What else? I've got down here. All these lower shelves are very busy. I've got let's see, Tolkien Bestiary. There's a bunch of my old acting books, music books, um, uh, old stage makeup book from college, theatrical design and production workbook from one of my tech classes that I took. Uh, oh, here is this is the book from my old voice and diction class that I was talking about. Introduction to General American Phonetics. It's a workbook about doing phonetic stuff. So like this was the Russian worksheet that my teacher from college put together. And it's like vowel changes, diphthongal changes, consonant changes. And it's what one thing turns into, and then there's examples of it that he put up for us. And we did a bunch of worksheets like this. It's a great way to learn dialects if you're looking to. And then a phonetic dictionary is something you can use with this. That's that. I think I pulled that out because I did a short film with some friends and I had to play like a Russian operative. Illustrated history of weapons, geek stuff that I would have because I'm me. Bunch of folders, Arknight map packs, old map terrain stuff from Hero Quest. More map boards, gaming journals. This banker's box down here, I don't know if you can see it, but this is where I keep all my extra dice. So there's a lot of them because I have a problem. Switching sides again. Let's see. 5th edition, 4th edition, 3.5, 3, AD&D, 1st edition, AD&D 2nd edition. A lot of like this is kind of like the old D&D bookshelf. And a bunch of 3 and 3.5 stuff on this side as well, like Deities and Demigods, Manual to Planes, Book of Isle Darkness, Book of Exalted Deeds, Tome of Magic. I still use these all the time. And on this side are a bunch of old 3.0 books and then old like dungeon magazines. Ooh, for you 5th edition peeps that love Cthulhu stuff. I don't know if you can see this, but you can kind of see it from the reflection. But this is the Cthulhu Mythos book that Sandy Peterson put out for 5th edition. You can kind of see the icon here that's embossed. It's a faux leather book. It's got a couple of bookmarks. This book is awesome. This was a gift to me from Lou Agresta and Rome Barton. But it's all 5th edition Cthulhu stuff. There's player races. Like you can play a Dreamlands cat from Quest of Unknown Gaddafi or a ghoul or Zoog. And it's got arcane conditions. There's different info about the cults and stuff. This book is dope. So that's there. What else? Up top, more dice, props. Switch sides again. More dice, props. A Doctor Who role-playing game. My Aces and Eights Player's Handbook. Miss playing that game. Some White Wolf, the werewolf game of my own stuff. Jorun, which is a setting that's kind of based on like John Carter, that was put out a long time ago by Chessex. And then next to that is one of my favorite systems ever that we just for the Gen Con stuff this past year that was we played a the new version of this game. We were kind of disappointed, but Cthulhu Tech is one of my favorite game settings, ideas. Like the combat system's a little hairy, but like the world, and it's basically take Cthulhu and then mix it with like Gundam Wing and the Guyver and X-Files. It's a super cool game. I don't get to run it very much, which makes me sad. I really liked the John Carter movie, and like it went through many renditions. Their marketing was not great. Like because originally, like that story, the John Carter movie that they made, that is John Carter and the Princess of Mars, but they just named it John Carter. Like I think they could have done a lot more with it. Yeah, I really like John Carter. And then top left up here is the Star Wars Saga edition. It's the full set of those books. Years ago, I had most of them, and I was like, okay, I'm going to Gen Con, and the thing that I'm getting is the rest of this set. And so I did. I actually I've 2-player books, like 2 of the core books, and then I've got an extra Knights of the Old Republic book up there. Let's see, more folders. It's Tony's lightsaber. Journals. This is one of my painting trays of stuff that I'm working on right now, or stuff to be painted. Claglins, which most of you don't know about yet. Consider yourself lucky. And then see the rest of it. Complete Sherlock Holmes. Comic books. A couple of WoW collector's editions that I had, the Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. These are all maps. This is chocked full of the wet erase flip mats or dry erase flip mats that Paizo makes. I got a artist portfolio thing so I could just carry them around because I would, before the world was ending, sometimes I would go other places in GM, so I would just take that with me so I had all my maps in the same place. The Greyhawk world map and area map, and the city with a key that I made a long time ago. I laminated this back in high school when we were playing in college, which is really when I started to get into D&D. I played like one game my sophomore or junior year. I thought it was cool, but I didn't really get into it until my senior year of high school. A shit ton of gaming paper that I've accumulated over the years of going to Gen Con. More maps in the back. I think that's it. There's I got minis up top. I think those are out of view of the camera. Yeah, Faceless, Fall of Magic, bunch of other props. And then this is my wall of minis right here that I'm working on. Keep adding to it. It's mainly monsters. And then all the characters, like the playable characters for the parties that we run here at the house, are all up here on top for the most part. But yeah, that's pretty much the tour. Video games down here, like I've got all the old, like Tony's in my old Xbox 360 and a lot of her PS3 and PS4 games. all my PlayStation 2 games, like all my old video games that I don't really play anymore, but I don't want to get rid of them because they're dear to me, like the whole Legacy of Kain series. That's all down there. Um, top left corner that you can't see, or the top right corner that you can't see up there. It's more old D&D stuff. R.A. Salvatore's Demon Wars setting that they put out for 3.5. Kingdoms of Calamar, an old Planescape book. All of that is old, like regular D&D stuff. Like it's the 3.0 Dragonlance campaign, the 3.0 Ravenloft setting, the box set for Menzo Branson that they put out like for second edition. Many renditions of Oriental Adventures. My Greyhawk City box set, one of my favorite ones that I have. The old, hold up. Picked this up the other day. This is a bunch of different spell effects for 5th edition. This is an old one. It's the Monsters Compendium. It's the binder. Like you buy the pages and just add to it. Had this for a long time. That's up there. HP Lovecraft Call of Cthulhu. For beginning readers. It's much shame. Yeah, there we go. And then a bunch more books, a bunch more games. Tony's got a lot of small games. She's got like Bang, Here to Slay, WTF, Daring Contest, Bloom. Tony's favorite board game is Red Dragon Inn. He has the entire thing. Like all 32 characters or whatever it is. Oh, wow. I'm missing a lot here. Let me go back up. I think we didn't go together, but that's awesome. I'm always on the hunt for good D6s. Oh, wow. Love Lovecraft. Matches of Madness is what I have. Matches of Madness as well. I have the first edition, not the second, which the app I know is there, and you can like the app basically GMs it for you, so more people can play, which is dope. I haven't picked up the second edition yet. They have like 1 or 2 games on the app for the first edition, but that's it. But I have Matches of Madness as well. That's down there. Arkham Horror. I've got Cthulhu Pandemic. If you like HP Lovecraft and you like podcasts, you should check out hppodcraft.com. I've read for them a couple of times. They've been around. They just did their 500th episode. They just celebrated 10 years. They went through Lovecraft's entire catalog. And like it's a literary podcast, so like you can read the story beforehand, but you don't have to, because they'll basically synopsis it while you're in the podcast. But then they'll also talk about like what was happening in his life, like things that were influencing him, other things he was reading that was influencing him. They talk about his racism. It's a really great podcast. They're both really great guys. It's run by 2 guys. They used to both live here in town, but now one lives in LA and one lives in England. But anyway, so I read for them sometimes. But then obviously they ran out of stuff for Lovecraft because he only wrote so much, and now they have a Patreon now. But they've been doing stuff that influenced him. Like he wrote a essay called Supernatural Horror and Literature, or in literature, and they cover a lot of the books or the stories that he talks about in that. They've been working their way up. Right now they're covering Portrait of Dorian Gray, Picture of Dorian Gray. I think they're on Picture of Dorian Gray. They just released the second episode of that. So, but they're on episode 515. That's how long they've been around. But they're great guys. But that's a really great podcast if you like Lovecraft, and you get to hear me read some of the story parts sometimes. So that's fun. My PF2 kind of looks like that. I got the special edition version. Yeah, that's the one that I got too, Amir. I just like the way it looked. So John Carter side one, super flopped over here. Yeah, John Carter was. It did not do well. I think it's Pixar's first and last actual live action movie that they did. Kind of want to play some KOTOR again. By KOTOR, do you mean SWOTOR? Like, are you talking about Old Republic? Like, are we talking about getting the Bleak Knocks back together? Because I'm down. It's loaded on my PC, Amir. Let me know when you want to roll, because Troopers for life. Star Wars Saga. That's not the RPG from Fantasy Flight. No, Fantasy Flight has the RPG license for them now, and which sucks because they said they're not going to be producing any more of the RPG books for them, but they still have the license. So it kind of blows that they're not going to be doing anything else, and the license is locked up. But no, this is the WotC, the Wizards of the Coast version, which this might be my favorite D20 system still. When that came out, we were playing 3.5 and we were like, oh my God, because it solidified, like, for instance, like 3.5 still had spot, listen, and search. And in there, I think they dropped it down to search or perception. And like, instead of move silently and hide, they just had a stealth storm. Like, oh, they're crushing everything down, so it's one thing. Oh my God, is this what 4th edition is going to be? So we were super stoked. And then 4th edition came out, and we're like, the fuck is this? So, and we tried 4th edition. We tried it for like Eric and I and a bunch of people playing in Eric's game on every other Tuesday. Like, we were playing 4th for like 9 months, and then the beta for Pathfinder came out, and we're like, well, we're done with this, and we started playing Pathfinder because the game was awesome. And that's what I've been playing for the last decade. And now, like, between 5th edition, that and Pathfinder 2, like, that's mainly what I'm playing now. Been watching a lot of Star Wars stuff, like history stuff on YouTube. Nasty dudes. You're getting a PS5 or an Xbox Series X? I've been an Xbox guy for a very long time, so that's probably what I'll be picking up. Although the new God of War is going to be on a PS5, so I might have to get both. I don't know. We do need a remaster of Legacy of Kain. I absolutely agree with you. Like, 100%. That game, dude, when I started playing Soul Reaver 2 and I got to the point where Kain meets up with him, and when Kain and Raziel meet up again at